It's been wonderful to be in Saskatoon. I'm now happy to take your questions.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister. Joyce Naker, CTV. Thank you for taking our questions. So, about NAFTA, is this September 30th deadline a do-or-die deadline, or do you think you could continue to negotiate beyond that date?
We have continued to work in a diligent, focused way. The negotiations are ongoing at a almost constant pace these days. We have seen various deadlines put forward as markers to work for. We're going to continue to work towards the right deal for Canadians, a good deal for Canadians, and we'll do the work needed and try and get there as quick as we can, but we're going to make sure that we're doing what is necessary to get the right deal for Canadians.
The U.S. media is reporting today that Donald Trump, who said the name NAFTA has a negative connotation, he wants to rebrand it and call it the USMC Pact. And if Canada doesn't want to join, it's easy, he just drops the C. Now, I'm wondering if that's a realistic threat, or if you think Congress would not allow that.
I think, first of all, the negotiations that are being had around the table are on a broad range of issues that will have a direct impact on Canadians' jobs, on our economic growth, on our prospects. These are things that we're working on very seriously, rolling up our sleeves on. I don't think we've spent much time talking about what the name or potential name or renaming could be. We're focused on making sure we're delivering good jobs and growth for Canadians and opportunities for all of us.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister David Aiken, Global News. LeBlanc, Morneau, Trudeau, three senior ministers that broke ethics rules. Why do you find it so difficult to follow these rules?
I think Canadians are reassured that we have one of the strongest ethics frames in governments around the world, and that we have active mechanisms that ensure that we are always doing right by the trust that Canadians have placed in us. It's certainly something that we've said many times. We work with the Ethics Commissioner. We accept the Ethics Commissioner's findings, and we'll always work to rectify and move forward in the ways that the Ethics Commissioner recommends.
To a different topic, to Ontario, 25 of your Toronto MPs today signed a declaration for calling on Premier Ford not to use the notwithstanding clause. What will you do to support those MPs who you have something in your thoughts?
Well, quite frankly, it's something that I expect of all our MPs to be strong voices for their communities in Ottawa. And the fact that we have 25 Toronto MPs who are speaking up for the very real concerns that their communities, their citizens are facing around not just the decision around the municipalities, but the choice of the Ontario government to override the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. This is something, obviously, that I take very seriously. I am a staunch believer and defender in the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. As I said, I am disappointed that the provincial government chose to take this decision to override people's rights and freedoms. But at the same time, I'm not going to weigh in on the actual debate over the size of the municipal governments in Ontario, in Toronto. I don't think that's a role that the federal government needs to be.
Hi, Prime Minister. Marika Walsh, iPolitics. Minister Freeland gave a speech in D.C. in the summer, and she also participated on a panel on tyrants this week. Both were seen to raise the ire of the White House at a very sensitive time. Was it appropriate that she participated in both those things? First
of all, allow me to take this opportunity to once again thank Chrystia Freeland and the extraordinary work she's doing. We're extraordinarily lucky to have her as our Foreign Affairs Minister and engaged on this file. As I said from the very beginning, Canadians expect their government and their representatives to stand up clearly for Canadian values and defend Canadians' interests, and that's something that we are always going to do. I think it needs to be crystal clear to Canadians that we will always be there to defend our values and defend our interests. And that's exactly what Chrystia is doing, both around the negotiating table and in her work as Foreign Affairs Minister.
Does it make it, though, more difficult to reach a NAFTA deal if the government is at the same time, poking the bear, as it were?
I think there's been many things said over the course of the past year and a half. The focus that we have is around the table in deepening and strengthening the most successful trading relationship perhaps in the world between Canada and the United States. We know that there is a good deal to be had that will both protect Canadian interests and create good jobs for the middle class in Canada and be beneficial to our two NAFTA partners. That's what we're going to stay focused on doing. That is and remains something that I'm really touched and pleased to see Canadians so united on. Across political partisanship, across regional divides, we see Canadians, and we've seen it strongly throughout the summer, standing together, knowing that the unity and strength of values and approach that we are showing every single day as individuals, as citizens, and as a country is the right path and the right way to do it.
Thank you.
Merci beaucoup tout le monde.